Welcome out, everybody. It is Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Pacific time, and you're here for another episode of Merlo's Movie Massacre, episode number 8. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Say hi in the chat if you're already there. You never know. Some people might be here already. Some people maybe not. Who knows? Say hi, though. Always feel free to say hi. And make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button, eh? Just making sure. If you are new here, that is. I'm sure most of you already have. But do so if you haven't yet. You know. And in case you guys didn't know, I'm making a Texas Chainsaw Massacre fan film before we really get into everything tonight. And I'm taking pre-orders for our next Indiegogo campaign. We're creeping up. We're almost at $2,000 in pre-orders, so the pre-orders are going great. Our campaign doesn't even go live till March 1st-ish, I think. We haven't really quite decided on the exact date. It'll be around then, though. Hey, getting some people already in the chat. What's up, Morgan Silva? Thank you. Hey, Morgan, how are you doing? Thanks. I had a Zoom meeting with her and some other wonderful filmmakers. Thank you guys for tuning in. Michelle Appollonia is here as well from Breathless Beauties. I gotta give her a plug. If you haven't seen her stuff, I show her stuff. She does these awesome handmade dolls, very horror themed. Here's a few of them for you. Michelle does all these, and I think they're awesome. Very, very cool stuff. I love the crow. Geez, that's so cool. I love it. You know? So she's based out of Syracuse, New York, if I remember correctly. And free shipping in the U.S., if I'm not mistaken, right? So I know Halloween's over, but you know what? Hey, you know, it's pretty cool. And you got to think about next Halloween, too, just so you know. Just saying. Horror-themed doll. You just check her out on Facebook, Instagram. I got her links in the description, folks. So go check them out. A lot of cool stuff. That was just a sample. I just showed you guys a sample. And Hilly Billy Man is here as well. Hey, how you doing, man? How you doing? So, yes, I was saying, yes, we are doing pre-orders for our next Indiegogo campaign. Thank you guys all for tuning in so far. And if you're just coming into the chat, just say hi. Just say hi. How's it going? Today is going to be a fun one. It's going to be a very, very fun little chat today. I'm doing a ranking. Now, these could always end up in hate. I don't know. Well, it's not really a ranking. It's a top 10. It's my personal top 10 favorite horror movies. I'll even throw in some honorable mentions as well. So that'll be, you know, because there's just so many great horror films. It's hard to put them in. There probably will be some stuff in my ranking that some of you would be like, what? Really? Come on. But as you guys know, I am making a Texas Chainsaw Massacre fan film. I wonder if that could be in my top 10 somewhere. I just wonder. It might be. It just might be. Thank you guys for chatting. Magic Time Films. Hey, how are you doing? I think you're new to the chat. I don't think we've had you in our chat before. So welcome. And you guys all in the chat, feel free to share your top 10s. This is an open, fun little discussion. I like to chat these things with you guys. Morgan Silva, and the holidays are coming up too. I think that's another plug for Michelle. Hey, why not have some horror-themed dolls for the holidays? There might even be a holiday-themed horror film in my top 10 as well. Maybe. I might have to do like another top 10 with like holiday-themed horror films. That'd be a cool one. Maybe next week. Or maybe some, I don't know. Top 10s are kind of fun, though. I don't know. This is my first real top 10. I've done rankings before. So let's do some, let's do more of these types of things. Magic Time Film says, I didn't catch the live last time, but you were there. Okay, cool. Last week, I take it last Tuesday. I do these once a week. I'm trying to get these up to twice a week, guys. It's just finding time. Would you guys be opposed to me doing, one show like this Tuesday evening and then another show, like a Friday morning? Would that be like, I don't get up early or so? Everybody's different, I guess. That's kind of where I'm thinking. If I'm going to be able to squeeze two in, I might have to get like a morning episode in. Maybe not. I don't know. Just depends on whether you guys would be up for it. I'd be up for it. I'd like to do these twice a week. But it seems like this 8 p.m. Slot seems to work the best for the chat. I seem to get more chatters at this time. I did try doing some slightly earlier times because I know there's people on the East Coast. I'm in the West Coast that are probably going to bed at this time. They're older people like me. I hate to say it, but I'm 40, guys. I'm 40 now, and I don't feel it though. That's the important thing, right? Magic Seinfeld. I'm down. That's good. I think I'll look into it a little bit more. See if I can, do like I usually do Tuesday nights. It is a scheduling thing though. I have to do it because I have a 3-year-old daughter, and she goes to bed at a certain time, and I choose the nighttime one when my wife is working late. My wife is working right now. She's a pharmacist, and sometimes she gets this night shift. It's usually Tuesday nights. It changes, so sometimes I do it on like Wednesday night or Thursday night or something too, but it's most commonly been Tuesdays. Yeah, it's 11:07 here. Hey, then you're a good night owl, right? You must be on the East Coast, 3 hours ahead. I've got me goblets of water. I can't drink anymore. I don't know. I'm too old now. Anyways, enough of this mucking around. We're gonna get into my top 10. Thank you guys all for tuning in, though, once again. Really appreciate it. And thanks again for Morgan for hosting that awesome Zoom meeting today. That was awesome. And if you guys haven't checked it out yet, the Indiegogo campaign for My Special Boy is still running. They're a little over halfway through, if I believe. You can confirm that with me, Morgan. But Morgan is the PR marketing person behind that film, so she's doing a lot of work. She's a busy gal. Thank you for tuning in. Filthy Dan is in the chat now too. Hey man, how you doing? What's good tonight? 9:08 here. Then you're just an hour ahead of me. You're on Alberta time, is what we call it here in Canada. But I'm sure you're not in Canada, are you? But yeah, since we're doing a top 10, and this is my personal favorite these are my personal top 10, and the back 10 are a little bit interchangeable, like the last 5. It's something I had to really think about, and then I was like, oh, what about this film, and what about this film? And it's like, what can you do, right? You do what you gotta do. And so I just made it. You never know, I could go back and re-watch a bunch of these, and my mind will be I'll feel differently. But my top 5 are definitely my top 5. I don't think I could take them. I don't think I could take any one of them out of my top 5. It's the way they are. Because I really love all 5 of those films. But again, the bottom 5 there in my top 10 definitely could be interchangeable. And even with some of my honorable mentions, which I will get into right now. But yeah, you guys remember, feel free to share your top 10s as well. Going to some honorable mentions. So I got films like Cujo, Halloween 2, The Evil Dead. Really love those films. Just can't quite get them into my top 10. I would also throw out A Nightmare on Elm Street. Psycho would also be in my top 10. It's so hard to fit all these great films into a top 10. But I thought I'd at least mention those ones. Some of you are probably like, oh, how could Psycho not be in your top 10? You know what? I've been told that my style is very Hitchcockian. But, I wasn't heavily influenced. I was influenced by the filmmakers that were influenced by Hitchcock, as a filmmaker. So I think that's where a lot of people see that from. I do really like Hitchcock, don't get me wrong, North by Northwest, and The Birds, and all that. They're all great films. But again, I don't know if I can get them into my top 10. None of them Psycho even. You never know. The more I watch some of those films, you never know, they could get their way into the top 10 eventually. So there you go. Good old Denver time. That's what you call it there, Denver time. Yeah, it's mountain time is what it's really called, I guess, eh? But here we call it Alberta time. I don't know. Which actually doesn't have a lot of mountains, actually, except for the Rockies that kind of go through BC and Alberta. It goes kind of half and half each, but then once you're past the Rockies, it's all flat in Alberta. Whereas we have a lot more mountains here in BC. I love BC. Just so many different sites in BC. Anyways, moving on. And you guys in the chat, feel free to share some honorable mentions as well if you want. Again, all good films. You never know. I could rewatch some of those movies, and all of a sudden, hey, Cujo is actually like number 9 or something. You know, it's hard. They're all so close. You know, my bottom 5 and those honorable mentions, I think those are all very close. You know, yeah. Magic Time Films, yeah, we call it Mountain Time in SD as well. SD, South Dakota. Is it South Dakota? I don't know. No, South Dakota, isn't that, I don't know where, I'm not American, as you can tell. What is SD? I thought SD was South Dakota as well, but Denver time is acceptable. Yeah, I don't know what SD is now. I thought it was South Dakota. But Denver's in Colorado. I don't know. Correct me on that if I correct. It is South Dakota. So I thought South Dakota was more to the East Coast. I would have thought that would have been like Central Time, maybe even Eastern Time. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not American, guys. I'm Canadian. Can't you tell? Hey? Huh? Eh? So South Dakota is at Mountain Time as well? Okay. I don't know. I don't know anything. I'm not American. There's too many states. We're like twice the size of you American. Well, not twice the size of you Americans, but we have about a quarter of the provinces as you guys do states. so it's easier for us to keep track. Like BC is almost as big as Alaska for you, you know. Almost, not quite that big. But Alaska is like a third of, or about a third of the U.S. already. So, right? About there, something like that. Texas is big too. It's not as big as BC, I know that. But yeah, anyways, moving on. So I'm gonna get that. Those are my honorable mentions. Feel free to share yours. Hilly Billy Man has shared some of his faves. Leprechaun 2, which I've never seen. I've always seen the first Leprechaun with Jennifer Aniston, but I've never seen Leprechaun 2. I gotta watch it. Leprechaun 2, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Thing, Hellraiser, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Monster Squad, The Pack, and The Exorcist original. There you go. Cool. Thank you for sharing that. I love it. It's definitely different than mine, but a couple of those are you might see. You might see. Speaking of which, we'll go now to my number 10 on my list, which is on Hilly Billy Man's list, and that is The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, which is technically it's a remake. It's a remake of The Thing from Another World, old film, and what can I say about this film? Man, the stuff they pulled off for 1982, I think is great, and the acting was phenomenal. The whole look of the whole film, it's hard for me to even have it at number 10. I almost feel like it should be higher than number 10. But again, I'm battling with a lot of these. It's like I feel like I have to go rewatch some of these. Like The Thing, I probably haven't seen in about 4 or 5 years. Probably been that long. Um, Man, Kurt Russell is awesome. One of the best jump scares ever in a horror movie, right? Am I right, guys? Come on. Tell me I'm right. One of the best, for sure. Yes, Haley Bailey, man, amazing effects that still hold up. You know, that are the effects in the thing to me hold up better than a lot of the effects from films that were made 20 years later in the early 2000s that were all really poor CGI. I mean, not really poor, but poor. Like, you know, 20 years later, like Attack of the Clones came out, and you look at Attack of the Clones in the Star Wars universe now, it doesn't hold up to me, the effects. The CGI. I know CGI has gotten better and stuff like that, but it's I don't know. You know, I go practical every time you can. I do understand though that there are certain things that you just can't go practical. So that is why The Thing is on my list. And again, just what an ending too. I mean, I can't talk about The Thing without mentioning the ending. Yeah, just can't. Sorry, I missed a chat from Michelle. The Monster Squad is a great movie. So much fun. It is. Well, actually, it's not on my list, but you know. I think I'm going to have to watch The Thing tonight now. Yeah. Hey, especially if you haven't. I'm sure you have. I'm sure Filthy Dan has, but you never know. The Thing prequel was awful though. They put CGI. Yeah, I haven't seen this new prequel yet. I've heard mixed things. I've heard some people say it's actually pretty good, and then other people say it's that it's not. So I don't know what to think. I never know what to think. Sometimes people tell me a movie sucks, but again, CGI effects. You know what? CGI doesn't necessarily ruin it for me. Bad CGI, that is. I just sometimes think that it can lessen a film if it's not done properly. If it looks like they're doing it to be lazy, you know, if they're doing it just because they can't make the gore, or they can't make the costumes that they, you know, if the budget's not. I mean, usually the budgets with a Hollywood movie, the budgets are there. That's for sure. That's why a lot of the stuff in Star Wars, you know, like CGI Jabba the Hutt. Come on, man. Yeah. Why does Jabba the Hutt look so much better in Return of the Jedi? Because it doesn't look like, it's not shitty CGI. I get it. I get it that it was hard to do Jabba. I get that. But come on, all the aliens in those new Star Wars movies. Hey, Stephanie Diaz joined the conversation. Hey, you made it. Thank you for joining it. Not too late today. We're just getting started. I just gave my number 10, which was The Thing. The John Carpenter's The Thing. I'm a huge John Carpenter fan. I actually wanted to put more of his films on my list than I did. I more honorable mentions, I guess. The Fog. I love The Fog too. It's just couldn't get it on the list. You know, here's another deeper John Carpenter cut that I almost wanted to put on the list too. Vampires. That was late '90s with James Woods. I really like that film too. But again, you can't get them all in. Felicia Mead is also in the house. Hey, man. Hey, Felicia. I should say, you're not a man. I know that. But glad you made it. Thank you for tuning in. And you guys, you share your top 10s as well. You share your top 10s. Even if it's just kind of on the spot and it's probably interchangeable. Your top 10 horror movies. It's fun to do. We're just interacting and having fun. It's cool to see everybody's top 10. So The Thing comes in at my number 10. Moving on, we gotta hurry through. Top 10s are gotta go through them quickly. I try to keep this to about an hour show. I always go a little bit over, mind you. Oh, Joe from Fangoria Faithful is in the chat as well. Yay, you made it. Thank you. Had a little bit of confusion last week, Joe did. I don't know how that happened, but hey, man, stuff happens. It's this technology thing, right? Coming in at number 9. This is one of the more modern ones. And that's The Saw. It's not The Saw. The Saw. Just Saw, not the Saw. I think I still got the Thing uh, in my mind. Yeah, again, it's. I remember seeing this one in theaters, and I didn't really care much for any of the sequels, to be honest with you. I know some people like the sequels, but to me, it was just more of the same. But the first one, it was, I thought, a really, really awesome concept. So I went into it and I thought, oh, okay, this is actually pretty cool. I expected it to be a lot gorier than it actually was. I mean, not to say that it didn't have its gore, but I think I expected it more gory, but it was more about the psychological aspect, and I really appreciated that because I find some of these movies in the slasher genre and that it's more just about how gory can we make the kills. So I really kind of appreciated that it was more of how messed up some of these are. So that's why I felt like I had to put Saw on the list. But again, it could be interchangeable. Um, these bottom five are definitely interchangeable, and you never know. I could rewatch some of these honorable mentions as well, and it's like, okay, I got to put that on the list now. Who knows? It's been a while since I have seen a few of these, so yeah. So just keep that in mind. It's been a few years. It's even been a few years since I've seen Saw. Um, I don't get a lot of time to watch the movies these days, guys. I have a 3-year-old daughter and a wife, and they don't like horror. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. My 3-year-old kid is starting to get into horror, and she, we, I don't know how, but she saw a picture of Jason on the internet while I was doing stuff on YouTube, and it was I don't know. She pointed at it and said, "Jason." I'm like, how the hell did you know that? I never showed you that before. It was funny. It was funny. Well, we got people in the chat. Saw was great. Hope the new one is good. Yeah, I guess there is another new one coming out, eh? I've heard that. I really just like the first one. I don't know. I didn't. I don't think I've seen all of them though. I don't think I've seen every single one. I've seen most of them, but I honestly get confused on which one is which now. It's like when I'll go back and watch one of the sequels, like the first one sticks out to me. I'll know if it's the first one. That one will always stick out to me. But the sequels, it's like which one's which. Usually, anyways. Fangoria Faithful, the ending was one of the best for sure. Didn't see that coming. I assume we're talking about Saw here still. Yeah. But the ending of The Thing, too, was also pretty good. Because the Thing is my number 10, and Saw is my number 9. Yeah, it was just, I love a good ending. I'm that guy that really loves a lot of these films, you'll notice on my list, have awesome endings. Most of them, anyways. Not all of them are like totally known for their endings, but a lot of these definitely are, because I love a good ending that kind of leaves you like, whoa. I love those moments, and a good ending can do that. It can do that, or it can ruin a bad ending can ruin a movie, right? So, anyways, moving on. We're at number 8 already, I think. This one will be controversial with some people. I'm just going to say that. This is one that I've seen a lot of hate for. It's probably the most modern film of all of these. I don't think I have a more modern film on this list. It came out in 2009, but I see it on the internet all the time that this is just a gore fest or a gross out fest, whatever, and that is The Human Centipede. You guys can throw hate at me if you want, but you know what? I saw this film and I actually loved it. I have to say, again, I thought it was going to be a lot more gross and gory than it actually was. Now, the sequel, I only saw, in fact, the first sequel, Human Centipede 2, I only watched about half of it because I couldn't watch any more of it. I thought this was just nonsense, and it totally was. It wasn't scary. It was just nonsense, and it was everything that you kind of thought that the first one was going to be. However, the Human Centipede, the first one, I felt invested in the characters. the grossness was more implied. It was than you actually saw. You actually got it, the grossness of it, through the facial expressions of the characters, the sound design, all that kind of stuff. It was implied. You never saw it, but you knew it was happening, and it gave the disturbing feel of it. And that's important to me. You saw it without seeing it, and anytime you can see something without seeing it, then they did something well. And so I give credit. That's a Dutch film, if I'm not mistaken, actually, The Human Centipede. Although I think that there were some American actors in it. One guy, the front of the centipede, he was like Chinese, I think, or Korean, or I can't remember now. And the doctor was German. I don't know if the actor was German or Dutch, but they're pretty close, actually. But I loved it. No, I have to say I was really, and another great ending, guys. I love the ending of the Human Centipede. I love the ending of it. It was just, I didn't like Human Centipede 3 much. Okay, I thought you were talking about the first. I never saw 3, but I heard it was virtually the same as 2. So, yeah, Human Centipede 2 is really nasty. Yeah, I turned it off halfway through because it was just gross. It was all it was gross. It wasn't scary. It was gross. And I wonder if some people on the internet just think that they're all like that. That the first one was not as more mentally like that, rather than, anyways. Yeah. Felicia Mead said, mine will be Spit on Your Grave. I'm guessing that's your number 1. These are top 10s. And Joe from Fangoria Faithful gives us a bunch of laughs. Elise agreeing that the sequels were just more was it even comedy, though? That's the thing. I mean, maybe they're trying to be comedy, and I'm definitely going to be hard on horror comedies that don't make me laugh. I wasn't laughing, that's for sure. Didn't find it funny. Definitely a twisted conga line. It's all good. It's all good. Anyways, where are we now? It's already 8:30, and I'm only at my, that was only number 8, I think, right? I think. So, gotta move along here. Well, because I like to save a little bit of time at the end for some Q&A, whether it be about my list or about the Sawyer Massacre, either or. I do like to give you guys some time to ask the merman. I don't know why. The Merlo man, but I'm a merman, like Zoolander. He was a merman at some point. So the Human Centipede, now another controversial opinion, but another great ending. I love it. I think this one is growing on people more and more, though. I do see more love for this film. And, it's hard. It was one of those that had to grow on me, too. This was actually the very first horror movie I saw from beginning to end when I was 11. And that's Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Controversial, I know. A lot of people were like, where's Michael? Where's Michael? And I was like that too, because I had always heard of the Halloween films. And my first experience with Halloween at all was when I was 8 years old, and Halloween 4 was coming out, and the TV spots had dropped in late September, early October. And I was like, whoa, that dude is scary, So I got, I kind of got obsessed with Halloween, and was here, I didn't even know what to expect with Halloween movies, and so we weren't really allowed to watch movies like that when I was 8 years old. So, when I was 11 years old and Halloween 3 came on TV on Halloween night, and me and my two brothers were just done trick-or-treating for the night, so we were like, let's watch it. I finally get to see Michael Myers, And so we're like, where is this Michael Myers? What's going on? What's going on? We were like, what? Only to learn that this was a different route that this movie took. And so at the time, I thought, oh, this is a crap film. But when I was in my 20s, I started rewatching the movie. Started to understand why this movie was made, and the more I watched it, the more it made sense, and the more it became, well, definitely one of my favorites in the franchise, for sure. You saw Halloween 2 was in my honorable mentions. I really love Halloween 2, and for a while those two were kind of battling for like which one do I like more. Um, but I have to say, Halloween 3 kind of just it grew on me so much. And again, the ending, you know, a couple things ruined Halloween 2 for me, and that's the beginning and the ending. I I really didn't like the beginning because it did not feel seamless to me with the ending of Halloween 1. And I know a lot of people feel like it is. I don't. I feel the start of this movie with Loomis running out of the door of Halloween 2. And I know I'm going off here a bit here, guys, but this is one of the things that always kind of bothered me about the movie. Right off the bat, Loomis comes out the door and sees this big imprint of Mike of where Michael fell in the grass. And like it's when you start the movie with such a cheesy thing. I mean, at the end of Halloween, at the original Halloween, you didn't see there wasn't even really grass where he fell. There was like a tree stump, and so it didn't make sense to me. It didn't feel right. The tone was already off for me about Halloween 2. Now, given that, that's probably my biggest beef with that movie. I do still love Halloween 2. Just, it definitely comes down some notches because of little things like that, for sure. Just my opinion, though. Just my opinion. But I this kind of baffled me that nobody else criticizes that scene. I always thought that was just so glaringly like off, and it was so unnecessary. I felt there was no need for it. But moving on. So Halloween 3, yes, I love the ending. Love the ending. I love Tom Atkins. Um, Love the concept, man. I love. Sure, is there some weak points? Sure, every film has their weak points. I there's a couple moments that I'm like, okay, you didn't have to make what's her name a robot at the Ellie or whatever, a robot at the end. I felt like that was a little bit forced. Sure, um, but I'm nitpicking a little bit. Does that ruin the film for me? No, no. I mean, like the Michael Myers imprint in Halloween 2 doesn't ruin the film for me either, but it gets it off to a bad start. I have to say that. I feel like you need a good start. Need a good start, need a good ending. Yeah. Just my opinion. Anybody else sharing their top tens? I'm not seeing anybody else. Magic Time Films. I barely remember Halloween 3. Must be time for another viewing. Yeah. If give it a shot, people. Anthropomatic Fiend is in. Hey, dude, can't stay, but wanted to check in and wish you the best. Thanks, man. Thank you so much. And we got Dino from the Late Late Horror Show here. Thanks, Dino. Thank you guys for tuning in. Giving my my top 10 horror films, guys. We're on. That was number 7, I think. I think it was number 7. Yeah. So we had The Thing at number 10. I had what do I have at number 9 now? Thing at number 10, Saw at number 9, Human Centipede at number 8, and Halloween 3 at number 6. So moving on to my number 5. Whoop, sorry, hit the wrong button there, guys. What's going on here? Whoops. Here's my number 5, Misery. Sorry about that, guys. Yes, Misery. This is the only Stephen King. This and Cujo, I guess, really are probably the only Stephen King films that I actually find scary. Now I like a lot of his other films. Obviously, they're not his films; they're his books or his novel, and made by others. Like I love Carrie, guys. I probably love Carrie more than some of these films on this list, but I don't find it scary. I love the film, but Carrie isn't scary. I know that's a bad rhyme, but it's not scary for me. It's so I mean I can't really put it as a horror film if I don't find it scary, even though I know it's looked at as a horror film. I find it to be a very sad story. I feel very sad for Carrie in that film, and it was just really, really, really well done. But going on to Misery, Kathy Bates, holy fuck, I was probably excuse my language, and my daughter's sleeping next door. Hopefully she didn't wake up and hear that. But holy shit, I mean, what can I was 12, I think, the first time I saw Misery. I believe it was 12, and I had nightmares of her for a long time after that. Well, but at the same time, I loved the movie. It's definitely one, because I don't find a lot of Stephen King's books scary. Again, I just don't find a lot. I don't find it very scary. What other ones am I thinking? Pet Sematary. I not a bad film. Pet Sematary, the original. That I never saw the new one. I've heard mixed things about it. So I'm just not. It's not a film that I really care that much about. It's just I didn't find it scary. I don't find that kind of stuff scary. I guess it's a supernatural thing. Not as big into a lot of the supernatural stuff. But obviously, Misery is a story that could totally really happen, and probably has happened in some sort of form, right? And it was pretty. I found it very, very unsettling, and both James Caan and Kathy Bates were actually quite good. And I don't know who the guy was that played the sheriff. He was really good too. Really, really dug his performance as well. It was a great film, and I don't know what else to say about it. It definitely had that squeamish moment with the. Ugh. You guys know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen the movie, I don't want to spoil it for you. Camp Blood Media is also now in the chat. Thank you for joining in. We're giving our top 10s here. I think somebody else listed their top 10. I'm going to check who that was. Stephanie Diaz. 10, Saw. 9, Slumber Party Massacre. Awesome. Cheesy 80, the good cheese. 8, Friday the 13th. 7, Children of the Corn. 6, Cabin in the Woods. 5, It, the 1990 TV movie. 4, The Grudge. 3, The Ring. 2, The Conjuring. And 1, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Hey, very, very different from my list. But, you got Saw on there. Saw is on my list. And right around the same area, too. So that's, hey, thanks for doing that. I love it. Doesn't matter how different it is. Oh, I see back here, Dino from Late Late Horror Show said Rosemary's Baby is my all-time fave. Yeah, I'd probably have to. That would be an honorable mention as well for me. It is damn good. It is damn good. Another Mia Farrow one I find that she was in that she was very good and that is a little bit underrated was See No Evil. I think that's a little bit later than Rosemary's Baby, but. Man, she was really good in that too. If you've never seen See No Evil, I think sometimes it's listed as Blind Terror. It's another one. I could go back to that one, and that could end up on my top 10. I remember it being very, very unsettling, but it's been like 15 years since I've seen that. But I just remember it stuck with me. I think there was a remake for that as well for See No Evil. Never saw the remake, so I can't tell you whether that's good or not. But go watch the original if you can. So moving on, I think that's my bottom 5 now. Magic Time Films. I listed my top 10 way earlier. It's nothing special though. Oh, I didn't see it. I like to read it if I can. Way earlier. Sorry, I missed it, man. Just going back in the chat. Where is it? Oh, there we go. In no particular order. Nightmare on Elm Street. 1 and 3. Friday the 13th. One Cut of the Dead. I've never seen that. The Thing, Hellraiser, Bram Stoker's Dracula, Interview with the Vampire, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Hey, I really dig some of those. And here's one thing about, you mentioned Bram Stoker's Dracula. It's this close for me to putting it in. Look, we're talking like the 1990 version, or I'm not sure if you're talking about that version as well. That's the one I think about because you know what? I absolutely love the way they told the story in that. But it definitely comes down because of Keanu Reeves' acting, man. I don't want to hate on the guy. He's a fellow Canadian. And, I do like Keanu Reeves. He's not a great actor, but he was particularly bad in that film. He really was. I mean, Gary Oldman was awesome. Winona Ryder was really good as well. It's just too bad. I really would have liked it. It would have been an awesome movie if Keanu Reeves didn't ruin it for me, as I really kind of like that story, that type of story for Dracula. It really should have been a love story. The new Castlevania show is kind of going that same kind of route. So they have a Netflix series for Castlevania that takes place before Simon Belmont, if you're before the games, basically before the original Nintendo games. If you are a gamer, an old school gamer like I am, I was actually more of a Sega guy, believe it or not, but I did love the original Castlevania games for the NES. But there's there was a love story that where the Roman Catholic Church tore that love story apart. And that was sort of the rage of Dracula, and I just love it. I love that dynamic. I love the dynamic. The new Castlevania series is really doing something awesome, and I love that. And I love that aspect of the Bram Stoker's Dracula. I really did. Filthy Dan also posted his Halloween, Night of the Living Dead, Night of the Demons, Lords of Salem, Frankenstein, The Burning. Actually, I like The Burning a lot. Psycho 2, The Omen, Saw, Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, hey, great list, man. Some of those, I really dig. Some of those I haven't seen. But yeah, and The Omen is definitely another one I battle with. Whether I really dig The Omen. It's really hard. It's really hard. Yeah, Magic Time Films, the Castlevania series, it is fantastic. Oh, I really dig it. I got actually some catching up to do on that series, actually. I think I'm still in like season 2. I don't even know how many seasons they have now. But we're right at the end of season 2, if I'm not mistaken. Just time, guys. But I love it. I do love it. And also, with that same kind of story, my favorite metal band of all time, Iced Earth. Dracula by Iced Earth. If you're not familiar with Iced Earth, to me they're the best metal band of all time. And that song says it all. That says everything about Dracula that you need, that in my opinion needs to be said. But we've gotten off talking. I've got to get into my top 5 here. So starting with my top 5, these are definitely solid for me. These are my solid top 5. Cannot take any of these out, no matter what. At number 5 is Child's Play, the original Child's Play from 1988. Man, in all honesty, I saw Child's Play 2 first when I was about 10 or 11, somewhere in there. And I always remember thinking Child's Play 2 was actually quite scary. And you know what? It's not bad. They definitely sort of upped the gore, I think, a little bit in Child's Play 2. But when I did go back and watch the first Child's Play, there is definitely something about the first one. There's an atmosphere, and I guess it's how do you say it? The surprise element of this doll coming that moment when Chucky comes to life in her arms, in the mother's arms. Wow, what a moment. It's definitely got to be one of the best horror moments of all time. It's just and you just don't expect it to be that good. The animatronics were so good. Especially for that time, 1988. Holy crap. I mean, animatronics were coming a long way by that point, but I don't think anybody expected it to be as good as it was. So it was really that gimmick of, you're going to see this doll. That was what people were talking about, was, holy crap, this doll really does just burst into life, and it's like nothing you've ever seen before. It really is. I mean, I still can go back and watch that film. I think the last time I saw it a couple years ago with my wife. And when that moment comes, it still is, I still jump up and I'm like, wow, how do they do that for that time period? I almost feel like they shouldn't have never made any sequels to Child's Play, because you'll never recapture that moment again. That it was a gimmick, really, and you could never recapture that again. Once you've seen it, you're never going to top it, and they haven't topped it. And now they're CGIing a lot of these. Forget it. Forget it. You've lost it. Filthy Dancing, Iced Earth, hell yeah, it's my favorite metal band. I'm not like a major metal guy, but I do like my share. And Iced Earth is to me the most underrated. And I'm a rhythm guitar player, if you guys don't know. And I totally, I make my rhythm guitar. My metal style rhythm guitar is John Schaefer. It's just so it's I totally was influenced by him in my style for sure. Boy, a lot of people. Night of the Demons definitely. Magic Time Film says Night of the Demons definitely deserves a spot on my. I'm gonna have to check that movie out now, guys. I've never seen it. A few people have mentioned that. But at the same time, I've probably never been drawn to it because I'm not really into a lot of these demonic type things. Like you're probably noticing, hey, there's not a lot of demonic type of films on your list, and there'll be a bit of an elephant in the room probably once I finish this list, and I will address it. I will definitely address it. Moving on to my number 4. Number 4 is. This is controversial. It's another one that people either love or hate, and I just happen to be one of those that loved it. That is the Blair Witch Project, folks. Yes, I said it. I absolutely fucking love the Blair Witch Project. I do. I mean, I could probably talk for an hour on why I love the film. I understand why people don't. I know I hear the shaky cam thing all the time. I hear that we never see anything. I hear that all the time. But I feel like you didn't need to see anything. And the shaky cam adds charm, in my opinion. Sure, there are times when it does give you a bit of a headache, but man, fuck, I don't care. I feel like I'm watching something real. And this is something kind of demonic, this film. Like, this is probably the only real kind of demonic thing that I have on my list. But the fact that they made you actually feel like it's actually happening, I gotta give them props. And the acting, guys, the acting is the biggest thing that sells it. Everybody that was in the film, not just the 3 main guys, everybody, all the people they're interviewing early in the film, they all look authentic. They don't look like actors. They look like real people. I don't know how they did it. I don't know. Maybe they were real people, and there is actually some truth to what they're talking about. I don't know. That's not what I've heard though. I mean, that's I'm amazed by it. I was amazed by it, and I saw it in the theaters in '99 when it came out. I was 19 when I saw it in theaters with a bunch of my friends, and about half of my friends were like, "Oh my god, I hate that! I hated that! That's it? That's the whole thing?" And the other half were like, "Well, I liked it. I really dug it. I was one of those. I love it, and it's okay. And it's okay if you guys don't. I don't see a lot of negative stuff in the chat, so that's good. And that's the one thing I just want to thank all you guys in the chat. You guys have always kept it very, very civil. I have never heard any, I expected to see some of that. Hey Steve, you don't know what the hell you're talking about or whatever. I have no moderators or anything on this, so I mean, I can't really control the chat, but you guys are awesome. Thank you guys for just keeping it civil, and this is a fun discussion. It's all about opinions. It's subjective, and I love hearing your guys' opinions, even though I won't agree with a lot of these top 10s that I'm seeing. A lot of them I haven't seen though, mind you too. But I see a lot of these top 10s. I'm like, that wouldn't make mine, that's for sure. But hey, it is subjective because we all get moved by different things. Like I just don't get moved by a lot of demonic ghosts and all that kind of zombies. There's no zombies on my list. There's no zombies, guys. Not that I have anything against Night of the Living Dead or anything. I like those, but zombies do nothing for me, guys. They really do. So thank you guys all for keeping it very, very civil in the chat. I really, really, really love you guys. Thank you guys for my chat's getting bigger. I can't read all your guys' chats anymore. So before I can actually get to everybody and read your chats, but I'm gonna read Michelle's top 10 though, or in no real order, which is cool because it's kind of on the spot. Like even me, I spent some time thinking about this list, and I still was like, I could change some of these. But in no real order: Halloween '78, Poltergeist, Freaks 1930. Never seen that. There you go. Wolf Creek. I actually didn't mind Wolf Creek. It's not, Train to Busan, again zombie. So I just didn't dig it. But The Exorcist, Jacob's Ladder, Carnival of Souls, from 1962, Night of the Living Dead, again zombie. So yeah, and that's cool, So Michelle and I, there's one or two that I do really dig on that list. One for sure that's in my top 5 here, but it's nobody thinks exactly the same. So it's really, I'm really glad that you guys have kept it quite civil, and we all can just share our opinion, and not because I'm on some of these Reddit forums and even on Facebook. Sometimes people are like, oh no, your opinion sucks. Yeah, I don't get the hate mail like Dave McRae does. Oh, geez, I watched some of his hate mail episodes, and holy crap, it's the things people say. But I do get a lot of hate on like Reddit and even Facebook. Some people are like, your opinion sucks. Whatever, whatever. It's all good. It's all good. Moving on, because, geez, oh crap, it's 8 minutes. It's 8 minutes away from 9 already, and I want to wrap up as soon as I possibly can. Moving on to my number 3, and that is, hey, it's on Michelle's list. It is 1978's Halloween. If I had to pick a favorite franchise, it's probably Halloween. I mean, you saw Halloween 2 in my honorable mentions. Honestly, Halloween 4 could have been in there as well. And Halloween 3 was, in like number 7 or number 6 or something like that on my list. Can't even remember my own list now. So, I mean, I know that it's got its share of stinkers too. Honestly, for me, after Halloween 4, I can't watch the rest of those movies. But that's just me. I can't. There's some that I'm like, okay, I can kind of hack my way through it. Like I can hack my way through H2O. But at the end of the day, it's just. It feels like a 90s flick. Feels like a typical 90s style flick. And same with The Curse of Michael Myers, Halloween 6. Those two, I can hack my way through them, and kind of enjoy them, but that's really about it. I don't like them by any means, that's for sure. But the first 4 Halloween movies, I love all 4 of those. I love all 4. I can't really say that about any other franchise that I love that many of their films. I just can't. So the original Halloween, geez, man, the score by John Carpenter. Let's get into that first, man. The score, it sends shivers down your spine, even though he reuses a lot of the same tunes over and over again. Yeah, it's powerful shit. Powerful stuff. The melodies he's got there are just so awesome, and they just really make that film as good as it is. Even though I have some negatives with Halloween, if I'm being honest. Some of the acting, boy, it's hot in here today. Sorry, guys. Wiping my face off. I had the heat on earlier. It's actually pretty cold here these days, but it's hot right now because I had the heat on. It's like gas heat. Anyways, and I'm in a hoodie as well. I probably shouldn't be wearing my hoodie right now. Yeah, John Carpenter was really good at building the atmosphere in this film. It's not gory at all. And you didn't need to be. It didn't need to be gory. There's not a ton of kills in this movie. It didn't need to have a ton of kills. But again, like I was saying, my only negative is some of the acting is, even Jamie Lee Curtis, I'm like, a little bit, guys. I'm not hating on Jamie Lee. She's gotten much better, but that was pretty much her first role, and it kind of shows for me, guys. It does kind of show that was her first movie. It's just not terrible by any means, but I think Linda was probably the word, or Annie. Linda and Annie. Bob was. I don't know. I don't know. They have their moments, I guess, but I don't know. They I don't. That's the only critique I can give on the film, because obviously Donald Pleasance, with the sheriff there, Sheriff Brackett, their dialogue and stuff was great. Their interaction, it was, it makes up for it for sure. But I can't help but say that if there is a negative I have for Halloween, it would be some of that acting. Yeah, and I know that there's other things that people have problems with Halloween, but when it comes down to it, I think Halloween was a film that should have never, ever, ever, ever been remade. I don't even know if it really needs any sequels, but I really wish they would have just gone anthology route right off the bat. Maybe Halloween 3 actually would have been a hit if they had it done it like that. Because again, the title is Halloween. It's not The Shape or Michael Myers or The Boogeyman or whatever, right? So I felt like there was so much opportunity to get away from and do different Halloween stories, and they tried to do that with Halloween 3, and unfortunately, I think I really believe because Halloween 2 was made, if Halloween 2 hadn't been made, maybe that idea would have actually taken off. But because they really established Michael Myers as the antagonist of the series. So with that film, so it is what it is. It is what it is. What can I say? Getting into my top 2, everybody. Top 2. Running out of time here, but we're into the top 2 now, guys. So here, this one was this Halloween was very influenced by this film. Black Christmas from 1974, directed by Bob Clark. You know what, guys? I feel embarrassed because I didn't see this film till about 8, maybe 9 years ago. Well, I was in my 30s for sure, and I was like, why the hell have I never seen this film before? I remember hearing about Black Xmas, the remake from 2006. Obviously, now they have another remake, and I won't even go see it. I won't. I know it. I just know it. I feel like I've seen the movie with the trailer. I just saw that whole movie with the trailer. But yeah, when I first I saw it I watched it on YouTube. Some other YouTuber was doing a top 10 worst remakes on his channel, and I was looking at it, and he came to Black Christmas, and I thought, oh, so that I've heard of Black Xmas or whatever, Black Christmas before, but the remake, that is, saw it in the video stores and blah blah blah, and everybody just told me it was crap. Don't go see it. I never knew it was a remake. So after that video, I went and looked for the trailer for the original Black Christmas on YouTube. Found it pretty quick. I was like, well, this is a long trailer. It's like 4.5-minute trailer. Holy shit. But after seeing that 4.5-minute trailer, I was like, I have to see this movie now. I have to see it. And found it on YouTube. Just on YouTube. Yeah, can you believe Black Christmas was on YouTube? Found it, spent the evening watching it, and I was just so blown away by that movie. I loved it. There's so much. You can tell that John Carpenter got a lot from that movie. You can just tell that atmosphere, that creepy vibe, which honestly, I just think Black Christmas does it that much better. If there was one thing I can say, I think Black Christmas does better than any film, is send a certain creepy vibe. It's the creepiest film, in my opinion. The creepiest film. Not the scariest film. That we leave for number 1, which I don't think will be a surprise for everybody. But also, I just want to going back to Black Christmas a little bit here. The killer, Billy. I feel like I know more about him every time I watch the movie, and the more I listen to the phone calls. And some people, you might be watching the movie and think, oh, he's just talking gibberish the whole time. He's not. And you listen to those phone calls a little bit closely. Have some subtitles on if you have to. Whatever. You'll learn some stuff about the guy. He is a deeper character than you realize, and it's so awesome that you never get to really see him, because again, they are trying to push a bit of a twist there. and to me, it works. It really works well because you could see that it being the other way. But again, again, the ending, guys. Like I've said it a few times with a bunch of these movies. That ending, that might be my all-time favorite horror movie ending. It might be my all-time favorite ending. Period. I don't know. It's definitely up there. I absolutely love the ending of Black Christmas. It is. It was definitely the right ending. I'm so glad it's like they had the balls to do that at the end. They had the balls to do it, and I feel like a lot of the newer films, they didn't have the balls to do something like that, and they did. Excuse me, guys. But yeah, that I have to, that's all I can say. Again, I'm embarrassed that I saw it when I was like 31. I'm like, where has this film been all my life? And immediately pretty much immediately, I'm like, I like this movie better than Halloween. I like this movie. I did. And it was like, holy shit, I can't believe I like this movie that much. I wish I could remember the YouTuber that made that top 10 video. It's probably long gone now. I don't know. But thank you to whoever that was for doing that, because I probably never would have discovered. I never would have discovered Halloween, or Halloween, Black Christmas. I probably never would have discovered Black Christmas. So moving on to finally my last film. I don't think I really have to say much about this, but of course it's the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It is my all-time favorite horror film. Yeah. I've said so much about this movie already. I don't feel like I need to say a lot, but to me, it's the scariest and most disturbing film ever made. Now, some people, I've heard a lot of people say stuff about certain other films like Cannibal Holocaust and I guess like a Serbian film is a newer one, which to me they're just gross. They're not really I don't find myself getting disturbed by them. Cannibal Holocaust a little bit, but to me it's just not the same. I think it's mostly because of the acting. I don't believe the acting. But again, it was a low budget film. But I believe the acting in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so that's why. And again, I've talked about it before on my channel. Geez, you could watch some of my past videos. I mean, I mostly talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre on this channel simply because I'm making a Texas Chainsaw Massacre fan film, everybody, in case you didn't know. I'm waving to my computer, waving at... I still get in a bad habit of doing that, but yes. So that's why it's no surprise. So I got to address a couple elephants in the room, at least. The first one is some people would be a little bit weirded out that I don't have Jaws on this list. To me, it's not a huge elephant because as a horror film, I don't find it scary enough as a horror film to put it on a top 10 horror films list. Although I love the film probably more than even the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm just being honest there. I probably love Jaws more, and I think next week, I'm going to do my top 10 films of all time. And Jaws, I think, would be higher than Texas Chainsaw Massacre on that list, because I love Jaws. But as a horror film, I don't find myself scared by it. I don't find it very scary. There's scary moments, but at the end of the day, I don't find it to be all that scary. So I think that's why I don't have it on the list. Another elephant in the room for everybody, this one is very controversial, probably, is the fact that I don't have The Exorcist on my list anywhere. Not even in my honorable mentions. Again, guys, but I've mentioned earlier in this, demonic stuff doesn't do much for me. I like it as a film. I like it. I don't love it. It's Linda Blair was great. She did great with that. But at the end of the day, I don't find it scary because demonic stuff doesn't do it for me. I know it doesn't for a lot of you guys. I'm sure Michelle put that in her ranking, and I get it. For a lot of people, The Exorcist is their number one horror film of all time. For me, it's not. I just don't find it scary. but I typically don't find demonic stuff scary. I typically don't find zombies scary. Um, I just don't. And I want to avoid putting horror comedies, your campy, funny kind of horror movies in here. Even though I like a lot of them, but at the end of the day, I can't really put them in a top 10 list. Again, don't find them scary. I'm trying to stick to stuff I actually find scary in my list. Feel free to ask me questions, though, about any of this stuff. Again, if you haven't posted your list, hey, go ahead and try to get it in now. Otherwise, we're going to end this live stream because it is 9:06 here Pacific time. I have gone over an hour, but I'll take a couple minutes if anybody has any questions or has anything they want to say. And I'll tell you guys that I am taking pre-orders for our next Indiegogo campaign for the Sawyer Massacre, which will be the ultimate Texas Chainsaw Massacre fan film. I'm not trying to brag, but I just, we've got a lot of great people behind this film. I just know it's gonna be great. So we are taking pre-orders. We're almost up to $2,000 in pre-orders, guys. So geez, I'd love to get it up there before we. We have lots of time before we actually launch the campaign. I'm sure we will get it up there, but all you have to do is follow me on my social media. Follow the Sawyer Massacre on social media: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. All the links in the description, folks. Send me a message saying, hey, I want to order this, or you can actually see the old campaign if you click on the Indiegogo link. If you can't find that link, I'll send it to you, whatever, and see if there's anything on there that interests you. We had a lot of cool stuff. Some of the things, there will be a couple things that won't be available, but most of the stuff that's on that old Indiegogo will still be on the next one as well. Most of the things. There's a couple little things, but message me about it, and I'll give you all the info you need. I'll send you the links. Right now I'm not really taking payments unless you're Canadian. If you're from Canada, I can do e-transfer. I don't think anybody here, I don't know, maybe some of you are Canadians, but I can't do e-transfer in Canada. Americans, you guys don't have e-transfer, so that won't work. But I think you guys have some different form of, it's kind of similar, but it's not the same, and it won't coincide with it here in Canada. But if I at least take your pre-order, I can at least put your name, so you reserve that certain perk. Because some of the perks we're going to have little bit limits on them. Obviously, if you're just getting your name in the credits or getting the digital download, those are unlimited, so you don't have to worry about that, and they're cheaper. The getting your name in the credits is just $5 Canadian, so it's like $3.50 American. So I don't mind giving away as many of those as possible. But if you want a Blu-ray, like Blu-rays were probably the most popular perk in the last Indiegogo campaign, and there's going to be a little bit of a limit on the amount. So if you want to reserve a Blu-ray, just send me a message through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So follow the Sawyer Massacre on all those, or you can even send me a personal message, Steve Merlo, on Facebook or Instagram. I don't check my Instagram very often because I'm always doing the Sawyer Massacre Instagram, always doing that one. But yeah. I think most of you I know from Instagram. I think most of you I actually know from Instagram. But yeah, so you guys know where to find me. You know where to find me. But yeah, drop me a message at those links. And it's been a fun night. Michelle says, awesome show tonight. Thanks for hosting. I love doing it. I really love doing this. You guys are awesome in the chat. I think I missed a bunch of chats. Hilly Billy Man, how did you find? Oh yeah, I got to answer that question. How did you find out about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? When I was really, really young, I think my cousins or something had it on their TV, and so I just saw like a little clip of it, and I was like, I've seen enough. I was like, get me the hell out of here. I was probably like 6, but I finally watched the film when I was about 12. Always remember I heard about it, and then I watched it, and it scared the bejesus out of me, but I loved it at the same time. So yeah, I don't know. I guess my cousins really introduced me to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Sort of. Sort of. That's the best way I can put it. It was a long time ago, though. I mean, I can barely even remember that. But, it was definitely stuff I wasn't allowed to watch at that age. It was anything rated R. It didn't matter. If it was rated R, we weren't allowed to watch it until we were a little bit older. But yeah, I finally watched it when I was about 12, I think. I'm not even sure if I watched the whole movie then, though. It was later that it really became my favorite horror film. Because I think when I was 12, I was still more of a Halloween guy. I really did lean a lot to how I was obsessed with Michael Myers when I was that age. But when I got to about 15, 16, I was really digging the Texas Chainsaw Massacre by then. To me, it was always the scariest movie. Nothing was ever scarier than that. Nothing felt so disturbing and so really messed up and dark. And it's hard to describe. But anyways, and then the remake came out, and I had high expectations. But anyways, I've talked about that before. Take care, my friend. Let's chat again sometime soon. Magic Time Films. Yeah, sorry if I missed any of your guys' chats, guys. I'm starting to get more and more chatters in these, so if I miss your chat, sorry. I don't have moderators or anything like that. I have to do it all myself, and so if I miss you, I miss you. Yeah, it's just the way it is. So I'll end that, guys, tonight. I think next week I'm going to do top 10 films of all time. Just so you guys can kind of see that I'm not just a horror guy, but some horror is obviously going to be in there. So top 10 films of all time. It'll be a fun one. So thank you guys all for tuning in. See you next week on Merlo's Movie Massacre.